the forbidden Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Hello there! In this video I will show you how I made these awesome melt and pour soaps. Let's get started. Here are some of my soap making supplies: a pitcher, silicone baking cups, glycerin soap base, flour silicone molds, scented oil, and goat's milk soap base. I also have some extra supplies like coffee and oatmeal, a scale, rubbing alcohol, more scented oils, a thermometer, and a packet of Earl Grey. For my very first soap, I did not want to do a bunch and potentially make a mess or mess something up, so I just did a little bit at a time, just enough to fill up 2 of those silicone baking cups, which came out to almost 4 ounces of the glycerin soap base. Then I melted the soap base in a double boiler on the stove. While I waited for the soap to melt, I measured out half a teaspoon of snickerdoodle essential oil, which is what the internet told me to do. Once the soap base was melted, I stirred in the essential oil. And then I poured it into the silicone baking cups. And one thing I noticed is that it started thickening up really fast. It started cooling down way too fast, and by the second baking cup, it was too thick to pour into there. So I ended up remelting it and pouring it in really fast. I don't know if I overheated the soap and it made it more thick or what. So for my second batch of soap, you'll see that I tried something different. Here's what my very first 2 bars of soap look like. A little wonky, but they smell nice. Next, I wanted to do a lot more soap, and this time keep an eye on the heat and make sure that it doesn't get overheated. So I measured out the scented oil before I melted the soap so that I could give my full attention to the soap. And I wanted to fill up the whole silicone mold of the flowers. So I thought that 12 ounces was going to be enough, but you'll see later that it was not. The scent for the second batch of soap is vanilla apple cinnamon. It smells really good. It smells like fall and autumn. I guess those are the same thing, but you get what I mean. I put about 2 teaspoons of the scented oil aside and then started to double boil the soap. For the second batch of soap, I found out that you're supposed to prep your molds with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, so I rubbed it around in the flour molds, and I also had some extra cupcake molds just in case I had made too much soap. The second batch of soap pouring went much better. I made sure that I didn't overheat the soap and to pour it really fast right after I pulled it out of the water. It turns out that 12 ounces of soap was not enough for the pink molds. I think it's more about 20 ounces would fit in all the molds because I was only able to fill up 4 of the flowers. I also read online that you're supposed to spray the top with some rubbing alcohol so that the soap doesn't get all bubbly on the top. For the third and final batch of soap, I used the goat milk soap. An unexpected bonus of this brand of soap was that it came with a booklet of a bunch of different recipes. Most of the recipes weren't for the goat milk soap base, it was for their other types of soap, but it was still cool to flip through it and just get some inspiration. One recipe I'm using for inspiration is this chamomile soap, except I'm replacing the chamomile with Earl Grey and the chamomile oil with vanilla oil. So I'm not really following the recipe, but whatever. It's really just the ratios that I'm using. Next, I took out this humongous block of soap and cut off about 16 ounces, aka 1 pound of soap. Then I prepared what I was going to mix into the soap, which is oatmeal, because I wanted it to be an exfoliating bar, and then the Earl Grey tea, and about a teaspoon of vanilla oil. Both vanilla oil and vanilla essential oil. For this last batch of soap, I decided to try the microwave method, just to see and compare it to the double boiler method, and I think they're both about as easy as the other one, but if you don't want to do double boiler because you're dealing with boiling water, then the microwave is just as good. You just have to take it out and stir it a lot more often. But I'll probably stick with the microwave method from now on. Once the soap was melted, I mixed in the vanilla and the oatmeal and tea. I even sprinkled some oatmeal on the bottom of the soap molds so that there would be oatmeal on the top of the soap bar. I also did my best to stir it to keep the oatmeal from sinking to the bottom so that hopefully all the oatmeal and tea isn't just at the very bottom of the soap. Then I sprayed the top with rubbing alcohol. You're supposed to let them sit for about 24 hours before you take them out of the mold, but I kept forgetting about them and being really busy, so it was a couple days until I could take them out of the mold. Here's my first batch of soap, the Snickerdoodle soap. They look ugly, but they smell really nice, so I'm okay with that. Next is the Vanilla Apple Cinnamon soaps. They turned out really nice. I was worried that they wouldn't fill out the flowers very well or that there would be air bubbles in the bottom, but there wasn't, and they're very smooth and they shaped out really well. They also smell very nice. Finally, here is the Oatmeal Earl Grey Vanilla soap bars. They turned out alright. A lot of the tea and all of the oatmeal sank to the bottom, but they still smell really good and the tea really enhances the vanilla, if that makes any sense. I also measured out the exact right amount of soap. For this one, I didn't end up with a weird little half bar or anything, so that was nice to know that 16 ounces is enough to fill out all 6 bars. Then I tested out the soaps by washing my hands. Neither type seemed to foam up very much, but my hands felt clean afterwards, so I guess that's all good. Last, I wrapped them all up in cling wrap to keep the moisture of the soap inside. And here they are! I definitely learned a lot about soap making from this. Someday I want to try real soap making, not just the melt and pour, using lye and oils and stuff. But for now, this was a good starting point, especially since I have most of the supplies now. Would you ever want to see me do real soap someday? Thank you so much for watching. Bye!